Armchair commanders, we call the shots. From our living room thrones where the action's hot. We're the generals of fiction, the masters of war. In silver screen battles with buttered popcorn. Armchair commanders, armchair commanders. Armchair commanders, armchair commanders.
All right, welcome to the Armchair Commanders podcast. My name is John.
And I'm jacking it.
That was very clever.
Thanks. I'm quite hilarious.
And we have a bonus reel today. We are reviewing episode 5 of Band of Brothers.
Goddamn right we are.
Crossroads.
Indeed.
I guess no better place to start than what'd you think?
I liked it when he shot that kid.
73 times?
Yeah, and it really hammered home. Like,
What?
first time, it's just, business as usual. He just shoots the guy, and who the fuck keeps messaging me? Anyway, but yeah, first time, it's just, business as usual, right? And you don't really think about it. Like, but then it, like, the more you see it, the more it, like, slows down the scene of, like, it really impacts you, just the eye contact they make.
His smile turns into, oh my god!
Yeah, what? He couldn't have been older than 19, maybe. He was young.
So young. But I mean, at this point, the German army was pretty much pulling anybody they could.
Oh yeah, gone were the days of the elite soldiers of the late 30s, and here were the fucking cobbled together, scraped barrel of the nearing mid 40s.
A line that really kind of struck me from that whole scene is like, they start capturing a couple of them, and Webster is translating. He's like, what are they saying? He's like, they're saying they're Poles. And one guy's like, bullshit, there's no Poles in the SS.
Yeah, there were quite a few.
Yeah, I was like, what? I don't know if maybe like that was just like their understanding from like propaganda and stuff, but like the SS had a lot of non-Aryan units, which is kind of hilarious considering they were looking to, bolster an Aryan empire.
Yeah, really.
Because like Latvia, excuse me, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland. Hell, I think there was even like an Egyptian SS unit or like a North African SS unit that was made up of locals. So
there was quite a sizable population of Muslims that were part of the SS. There's pictures of them during prayer time in their SS uniforms.
So yeah, I don't know where this whole like don't get me wrong, I thought it was a funny line because it's like a bullshit I don't believe you moment, but also it's like you're calling him out on something that's actually not that unfeasible.
But at the time, can you see where a 1940s layman of the army would think, yeah, that's bullshit, they're lying to us? Probably because they don't want to get executed. Pop.
Fair. Which they probably would have if Winters didn't take Liebgop's ammo.
Yeah. You know, when I first saw that, I was pissed off. But now I kind of get it. Like when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, Winters is gonna feel so bad when they jump him." But like, it's not like he would have been alone with these POWs. They were like soldiers coming to and fro.
Yeah, like he might have been like quote unquote alone with them, but like they were he was transporting them back to like an area that was secured by the Allies.
And from the looks of the soldiers, they didn't really want to try shit. They were probably just glad their war was over,
Oh, thank God I didn't get captured by the Russians.
right? And spoiler alert for the possibly few of you that haven't seen this series. If you haven't seen the series yet, what the fuck are you doing listening to this? Go watch it, assholes. Anyway, later on in the series, episode 9, my favorite, I believe, like one of the soldiers, as they're passing by like a fucking convoy of prisoners, they're like, look at them, they lost the war but they still have their head on high. And I was like, yeah, because they didn't get caught by the Russians. They've heard stories about what happens if you're caught by the Russians.
They get a stipend of vodka, right?
Well, if you're lucky, you shit yourself to death within the first year or so, or you get killed immediately. Other than that, it's forced labor for till 1955, I believe, at the earliest.
Right. So I gotta be honest, I don't like this episode.
Oh yeah, why is that?
I generally I don't like over usage of flashbacks, which is something that this episode does a lot of. I think it's kind of a cheap filmmaking trick. Like it worked in the first episode because our
In
opening,
media res.
yeah, because like our first episode, it's like, oh, do you remember training? And then it flashes back to the beginning. It tells the entire story and it brings you back to the original point. It's like, I get it. They're trying to show, the mental toll that is taking place on Winters. But, and for our fans at home, we did this out of order. We recorded episode 6 before this one. I think episode 6 does an infinitely better job of exploring the topic of the men of Easy Company becoming tired and becoming traumatized and like dealing with mental struggles that like Winter's having a flashback on a subway. I don't know. You said you liked that moment, but I think like the moment in and of itself was fine, but in the grand scheme of the episode, I think it detracted.
I liked it because it shows you in the first. God damn it! I clicked the wrong thing. But it shows you in the first minutes of this episode, like how it real time happened. He crested the crossroads, saw this German kid, they made eye contact, boom, kid's dead, moves on to battle. But as the episode goes on, it shows you that there is more to that look. Like they connected, if ever for the briefest moment, where you can see it in his eyes, where he probably for the first time considered like, oh fuck, these are actually humans, actual people. And I believe the saying goes that a good soldier does not view his enemies as humans, because the second he stops viewing them as enemies and as humans, he ceases to become a good soldier. I don't know. Maybe I'm pulling that out of my ass.
This seems too well put together to be just out of your ass.
Thank you. I think. Fuck you.
Love you too.
I tolerate you.
The other aspect of this episode I don't really care for is like, yeah, our like main assault on the crossroads, like that's a cool scene and whatnot, but like overall, I think this episode, it's slower paced and it kind of drags, which I get it can't be action all the time. And this is supposed to be this kind of weird in between post Operation Market Garden, pre Battle of the Bulge, where, Easy Company is rebuilding, but there's no bodies to rebuild, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
this episode kind of drug on for me.
yeah, James McAvoy died, so they're out of warm bodies.
Right.
And this is before Tom Hardy joined. So, yeah, they're struggling. But one of the Wahlbergs is still with them, so that's cool. They still got Wild Bill. They still got Joe Toy, who, without seeing the rest of the series, I think he's going to fulfill his prophecy of slitting Hitler's throat. Just a wild guess here.
I mean, I remember the history books saying it that way.
Yeah, that's why we celebrate Joe Toy Day every year. Moving right along.
Anyways, handing out stilettos to kids. What was I going to say? Like, there's multiple moments in this episode that are just uncomfortable that I think also add to the fact that it drags on for me. Like the scene where Garnier comes back and he's like, "Oh, I escaped, the hospital. I hope that doesn't cause any problems for you."
Would you
And
care
then
if
Leonard's
it
like,
did?
"Yeah, as he's like flipping through paperwork, and he's like, "Right."
Would you care if it did? No.
So, and I get it. Like, that's the other part of it. This episode's major thrust is the fact that Winters is changing responsibilities as being leader of Easy Company to being the battalion commander. And like, it's meant to show that like he's kind of begrudgingly doing it and that it's like a shitty job.
Yeah. He has to do all this fucking paperwork.
But he gets an aide that makes him bacon sandwiches.
Yeah. Bacon sandwiches, they go well with VOT 66, was it?
69.
That's the sex number. But let's see what else. Yeah, Winters is pissed off. His bros decide to put him on a field trip to Paris to make him feel better. He doesn't feel much better until he takes that hot bath, I guess. Why else would they spend so much time showing him in the bath?
I think it's supposed to show him as like a simplistic guy.
Yeah, finally relaxing after he's probably been on his toes before he even jumped into Normandy.
Yeah, the bath scene was, I thought it was well shot, but also I was like, I don't need this.
What was his actor's name again? Hold on. Winters
Damian Lewis.
actor. Damian Lewis. Maybe they just wanted to show us more Damian Lewis nudity, which I'm okay with, but
I think it's one of those things is that like because Dick Winters was one of the major providers of information to Ambrose, that's why, and I mean, don't get me wrong, he is the leader of Easy Company, so he very much has a very front and prominent role in the story. But because Winters provided so much information to Ambrose, like that's one of the reasons why like he's basically a main character in the book as well as the series. So I can see why they're trying to humanize and delve deeper into him.
yeah, Winters deserves it.
I personally want more of Moose Heiliger. That's a dope ass name.
Yeah, right? Moose.
It's Moose! Pow pow!
My parents named me Jack.
Jacknet.
jacking it. Yeah, as if I haven't heard that all 3 years of middle school.
We should there's another movie coming out or has come out called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I've heard about that. I just don't know shit about it.
It's a fucking mouthful. It's basically like like the US had like OSS for like, secret squirrel stuff.
Yeah?
So that book is supposed to be about like the British version of that during World War II.
Okay.
And it's based on a book that was written by Damian Lewis.
Wow. Interesting.
Maybe we should do that as our next movie.
Hell, maybe. It's on the list, right?
I don't think it is because I think it came out this year.
Yeah, I knew it came out recently. I just thought it was like last year,
Yeah, it might have, but add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
I want to know what happened to Talbert's dog because he gets a dog in this episode and then we never see it again.
Yeah, I just assumed it, they had to move on. He just left the dog behind.
They could have used the dog in Bastogne.
For what?
Food.
I was going to make that joke, so I'm glad you made it, so I don't look like the psychopath as usual. But, I don't know. Maybe he just realized that, hey, the front is no place for a dog. Here, just did the old throw a piece of meat into the woods and just leave it. But
what about the belly? The front's no place for the dog, but what about the belly?
Fuck you. Fuck off. Also, what are you drinking, you little...
Oh, a traditional German beer. Sapporo.
I see. I'm drinking a Winterlager.
A what?
Samuel Adams Winter Lager. I just wanted to sound fancy.
Oh, okay.
Also, it's snowing. Well, it's fucking cold in Pier, and I hate it. I hate the winter. I hate the cold. I fucking hate it all.
I love I'm drinking a Japanese beer for our series on
the war in Europe.
Yeah.
Which Japan was their allies, so I guess if you turn your head and squint.
It's just like whenever we do like Last Samurai, I'll just be drinking like a Grolsch or something.
I mean, it makes about as much sense as anybody trusting Tom Cruise to be the last samurai or the retainer of the last samurai or whatever he was in that movie. I haven't seen the movie.
You haven't?
From what I've heard, it's basically Dances with Wolves, but for weebs.
No. Kind of, but no.
Let me guess. A white guy saves the day.
No, he doesn't actually.
Oh, yeah?
I have a whole diatribe to go on about that film, but that will be for another day.
Yeah, that's for when we actually do that.
I would put The Last Samurai in my top 10 war films.
Bruh.
You don't get to bruh me if you haven't seen it.
No, I will bruh you until I've seen it. And then I'll reserve my right to either bruh you or my man you. Or, just end this partnership forever and walk away from this burning heap of a podcast. Oh my god. But
here I was hoping to make it to 100 episodes, but you know what?
Well, fuck, you have Mitch's number. Get him to be the next co-host.
Oh, but he's a dad and busy.
Oh, but whatever. He can be an absent father as a treat.
Don't we all need daddy issues to a certain extent?
Yeah, if anything, we're building character for... What's his kid's name? Fuck, I should know this.
Noah.
If anything, we're building character for Noah.
That is amazing, Jack, that you forgot his kid's name.
It really isn't when you consider how much I'm in that kid's life, which is not at all.
But Mitch is one of your closest buddies.
I haven't seen him in. Fuck, when is the last time I saw him?
It's not about physically seeing something, it's about what's in the heart.
Saw his parents a couple weeks ago at one of my usual haunts, so I guess that counts.
Yeah, good enough.
Good enough. I mean, of course, I didn't recognize them at first, but fuck you, I was one of the best men at his wedding. Man, that was a fun wedding too.
You know what this series needs is like a wartime wedding.
I mean, I guess I can't really name very many prominent female characters of this series.
No, there isn't. That's what I'm saying is missing. You know, we need the like. I met this dame at the dance last night, and now we're getting married because we're on a 48-hour pass.
I mean, you get to see Tom Hardy raw dogging a German chick later in the series, if that counts.
No, that doesn't count.
Also,
it doesn't uphold 1940s good, wholesome moral standards like racism.
Oh my god! I mean, we get a wartime wedding in the Pacific and a couple female characters.
Yeah.
Which I don't care what people say. I fucking love the Pacific. Like this series, Band of Brothers was a high bar, and I respect the Pacific for at least trying. Also, the fucking vibes of the Pacific were much different than this Band of Brothers. Oh my god. Like, this series was like, we're fighting for liberty and freedom and democracy and to end tyranny. And then Pacific, it's like, I'm fighting for my fucking life.
I'm going to pull his teeth out of his head.
More war crimes.
Did you know, so that guy that wrote the book, The Rifle, that we had on, Andrew?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Like, part of his book is he interviewed a guy who fought in World War II, and apparently the guy had some heavy baggage he needed to unload, so he...
Yeah, I saw that.
Bequeathed him a fucking bag of teeth.
Yeah, and like, I was looking, I follow him on Facebook, and I saw that post. It's like, today we honor this veteran, 103 years old, and he still has his bag of golden teeth that he got from his time in the Pacific. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't know what you would do with that.
Like, if he hasn't sold them by now, what's his end goal?
I'm just trying to imagine at like 103 years old, he like goes into like a jeweler's place just to sell off the gold. And like whatever poor clerk there is like, oh my God, there's a serial killer here.
Can I get this in cash? Absolutely not. Get the fuck out.
But first talk to the cops.
Oh my God. But those had to have been like grandfathered in, right? Because was the Geneva Convention even listed for prying gold teeth out of your fucking enemy's head at this time?
I think, you know what?
There were looting laws, but
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
I mean, I say that if he goes across, like halfway across the world to fight people he's never met, he can have a little bit of war crimes as a treat, right?
You're acting like a war crime's like going out for ice cream after you went to the gym or something.
I mean, when you're facing people that strap bombs to themselves, or their idea of anti-tank mines was putting a guy down there with a sack full of explosives and a hammer, then the lines get blurred, right?
Blurred lines. You know you want it.
Boom! Yeah, because we just had to incorporate a song about non-consensual anal sex into this review. That's really what we were missing from this podcast.
That is not even remotely the worst thing to be said around here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I made a joke about the atomic bombing of Hiroshima within like 5 minutes of our first episode, so there's that.
So tell me, what was your least favorite part of this episode?
You're right, I got way the fuck off topic. I know I was just filleting the scene earlier, but I do kind of agree with you with the whole flashback thingy and how confusing it gets, bouncing between him doing paperwork and what actually went down. Also, so I feel like you and I kind of have Nixon and Winters thing going on, where you're an uptight bitch with a stick up his ass, and I'm the guy drunk on the couch while you do paperwork. Like, if I
I
told
want to disagree with you, but
you can't see, but
I
anyway,
don't think I have a stick up my ass.
I mean, kinda. It ain't a twig, but it sure as hell ain't a baseball bat. It's something though. Anyway, but like if I was drunk off VOT 69 and you were doing paperwork, and I'm like, come on, you got to expedite the process. Use the plural present tense of just we. Say we more. Like, would you really take my writing advice, or would you just be like, fuck off, Jack, and make me a bacon sandwich?
I would tell you to make me a bacon sandwich.
Yeah, see? I don't know if Lewis is the guy you want to take writing advice from.
I don't know. You went to college.
I mean, I guess you're right, and he does have sound advice of keep it simple, stupid, the KISS principle.
You know what's something I wish, another thing that I wish there was more of in this was like, I wish them retrieving the British paratroopers from across the river was like a more involved
Yeah.
and in-depth scene.
I don't remember that in the book, but I feel like it got more attention in the book.
Yeah,
That seems like a very, very careful operation.
yeah. I mean, there's a way for like it's essentially a covert operation, and like I love the scene that they have where they're all having drinks in the barn, and everybody's yelling curry, but like that. It seems like the celebration scene took more time than the actual rescue itself, and it's like I don't know if we don't really appreciate what they accomplished as far as helping getting the paratroopers that survived Arnhem back. Like it kind of, I don't know, it kind of makes the celebration scene a little pointless.
Yeah, and like my memory isn't perfect, so maybe the real life operation did go off without a hitch. If anything in that war could go on without a hitch. And maybe it was just meeting up with them, shooting the shit briefly, getting in one or two jibes about you're an American, you're a Brit, and then just going back and getting fucked up in a barn. But they were pinned down and isolated for a reason, though, right?
Yeah, like if we go back to our review of A Bridge Too Far, essentially the paratroopers in Arnhem, like they never got relieved. Hence, A Bridge Too Far. Like the armored column never made it to them. So the injured had to stay behind and be captured, and then the rest of them had to walk their happy asses out.
Walk their happy asses out.
I'm sorry. For our British listeners, that would be stroll their jolly fannies out.
Yeah, we didn't mean to say such profanity and naughty words on our podcast. It's against the law. We don't have our profanity license.
Oi, what's this?
Will, what's all this then?
Uh, do you have any further thoughts on this episode?
We haven't been at, like, this is a very short episode. I feel like we need to
That's
talk.
because nothing fucking happens in it.
Well, yeah, they kill a bunch of SS. Winter shoots a kid. They
No,
save
we
Chris.
watched. They charge across the field. They kill a bunch of SS.
Wait. We're forgetting one key thing. That special guest star towards the end. You know the
my
one I'm
fucking
talking.
God.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon.
Lieutenant fucking Jimmy Fallon. I think that this episode needs to be docked points just because it fucking has him in the series.
Tell us how you really feel. What, you don't like his stand-up?
Fucking hate Jimmy Fallon with an ever-loving passion.
What do you do? Touch you on your penis or something?
No, ruined 70 billion episodes of SNL.
Okay. Okay, if you're willing to kill on this hill,
Yes.
because it sounds like you're out for blood.
Listen here, motherfucker. You're a professional comedian, and you can't keep a straight face during a 2-minute goddamn sketch of Saturday Night Live ever.
Well, it's because he's just so funny. That's how good he is. He cracks himself up, I think. I don't know. I don't watch him. I don't watch late night TV. I don't watch reality. I barely watch TV at all anymore because
He doesn't deserve to be in Band of Brothers. Fuck it.
The internet personalized all my entertainment, thank Christ. So it's not like I have to sift through the crap to find the diamonds.
Better yet, how dare they make him a hero for his 30 seconds on screen?
Wow. Would you prefer he be an asshole?
I would, you know what? I would rather Jimmy Fallon be an SS guy that got shot in the field.
Wow. Bold.
Because at least that would have been entertaining.
Christ. I guess this podcast has beef with Jimmy Fallon. I personally don't, but if we're going that route,
you have beef with him now. As an
I
armchair
do now,
commander,
like-
you have beef.
by proxy, I gotta go with it now. Fuck Jimmy Fallon.
Hey, Jimmy
Yeah.
Fallon, if you're listening to this, fuck you.
Yeah. Probably gonna have an unfunny bit about us on your show. I was opening a bag of pretzels. It was a battle. But yeah.
A joke's not funny just because you laugh at your own joke, Jimmy.
James. I feel he seems like the guy that hates being called James.
Jimothy.
Jimothy. That's too far, man. That's not funny. Come on.
Oh, okay.
We got to have some standards. We're journalists. We're going to be journalists soon.
What the fuck we are.
Well, we're going to be certified on Rotten Tomatoes. That's basically the only requirement for journalism nowadays, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. We got to uphold ourselves to a higher standard of not calling him Jimothy and instead calling him James. But anyway, yeah, like compared to the next episode, like yeah, what else is there to say about this episode? I mean,
Not a whole bunch. Like, it's like we said, it's a slow episode, and they rely heavily on flashbacks for one scene, which I get the point of it, but that ultimately takes away from the overall content of this episode.
But I feel like the need to mention the other thing, like this is the episode where we start to see more of Buck coming undone, because that scene where Winters sits behind him at the movie and like tries 3 different times to engage him in conversation, doesn't respond, and then he finally gets Buck's attention, and Buck's just like, I think he immediately says, oh yeah, this is a good movie, even though that wasn't what he was asked.
Got a penny?
Yeah, and man, and in the next episode, he when they're on the line, the 3 of them, I forget which three, but he's one of them, and he's like, "Yeah, back in the old days, now we know how the Legionnaires felt, hunkered down in this same forest, watching the line, just waiting for them to attack."
The Visigoths.
The Visigoths, that's it. And you get to see his honey who broke up with him.
Well, I think now's as good as time as any to announce our guest for our next bonus reel.
Oh, really?
I mean, this episode comes out before that one.
Who is it?
Oh my fucking god.
Just play along, dude.
No! Fuck you!
Who's the next guest, John?
I don't want to do it now.
Oh, fuck out of here, man.
You tell him who the guest is.
No, you tell him.
We have Chris Langlois, who is the grandson of Doc Rowe, and has written a couple of books about the Band of Brothers, joining us.
And we're excited to have him on.
We are excited to have him on.
I'm sure it's going to be a great episode. Like, I can't wait, personally. I think it's going to be a really great one.
It's going to be a good perspective on that episode, seeing as the episode is focused on his grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
So, stay tuned, listeners.
So the there is no tomometer for this episode.
Right.
Yeah,
as with every episode.
As with every episode. Oh, hey, Star Wars Skeleton Crew is getting like a 96%. That's cool. Probably not going to watch it, but
I think 1 to 5 bacon sandwiches.
4 bacon sandwiches.
I think this is the first episode that we've negatively rated.
What, 4? That's generous still.
I'm giving this episode a fucking 3.
Wow. Okay, wow. Somebody hates our veterans.
Oh my god. Look, it's Band of Brothers and it's good. But in the grand scheme of all the episodes of this series, this one falls short.
Honestly, yeah, probably. But I'm going to still be nice to it.
It's like, I have to get through it. Like, if we're being honest, I could watch Band of Brothers and skip this episode and be completely content.
God, yeah.
Because I don't think it really adds all that much.
I mean, I would still watch it just because it's Band of Brothers. How much it adds is a matter of debate, really. But I still think it's an important to the overarching story. Because really, without this episode, like, we would go straight from... What the fuck was the last episode? The one where they get Randleman back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the episode they get...
Market Garden.
Yeah, it was like the back end of Market Garden, and then boom, we're in Bastogne.
Fine.
And if we didn't have this episode, we'd miss out on seeing Jimmy Fallon's face. Now, you wouldn't want that now, would you? Yeah, I agree. But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't skip this episode is all I'm saying.
All right.
But gun to my head, maybe I would. But that cocksucker better be loaded.
Do you have anything else, Jack?
I'm trying to think. That scene where they're like hassling the guys that were there that are getting rotated out, like, oh yeah, we got slaughtered. Yeah, give me your ammo. Like, what? Give us everything you have. Really sets the stage for the next episode.
I think that's the greatest scene in this entire episode is them walking into Bastogne.
Also, I forgot to mention it on the 5th episode, or whatever the next episode, where that scene where it's like early in the morning and the Germans are launching a counterattack with tanks, and it shows them like getting ready and panicking, and I think it's Perkani yells out, "What the fuck are we supposed to fight them with?" And then Eugene goes back with someone wounded, and we don't see that battle, but when they come back, everybody's still alive, and they presumably fought them off. How the fuck did they win that? Like, what did they do? Did they just get tired and stop? Did they like get halfway?
Pure American spirit.
Like, I didn't see no bazookas or Panzerschrecks, as the cool kids call them, but or like any anti armor to speak of. But I guess they fought them back.
There's
This is just one of those things that bothers me.
There's like a whole dissertation about how the 101st defended Bastogne. It's very interesting, but it mainly relies on the idea of interior lines. So, like, essentially, they would amass the majority of their troop. Like, the Germans were idiots and would only attack, like, one place at a time. So, like, the airborne could readjust all their troops to wherever that attack was. But, like, if the Germans had attacked multiple places at one time, then they wouldn't have had the resources to repel them.
Wow. Yeah, it's, I guess, another case of never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake.
Nuts.
Yeah, next episode's dynamite.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Army's uniform is for the Army Navy game is a play on the nuts line.
Really?
Yeah, you should check it out.
Our mutual colleague and friend Mitch is an Army guy, or at least I'm assuming he is, because you're Air Force, I'm Navy, so by logic that means he has to be Army, right?
Probably. And for our listeners at home, let's clarify something. We are supporters of those branches' academies. We didn't serve in them, so let's get that straight here before somebody fucking ats us.
Yeah, I'm a Navy athletics fan. Yeah, and yeah. I had a shitload of grandpas in the Navy, and my grandma was a lifelong Navy athletics fan until the day she died. And so
a terrible boating accident.
Fuck you. Therefore, I will be. You want to know who died in a motorboating accident? Me with your mom. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you, John.
You know my mom listens to this sometimes, right?
I apologize for my outburst. I just get so angry.
You don't have to apologize to me, but Papa Jerry might have something to say about it.
Oh, fuck. Papa Jerry's going to kill me.
Jerry
Bear.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. The stars do matter. If you want additional content from us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all those places. Until next time, I have been John.
And I'm jacking it.
And we'll catch you all later with some ammo.
Bye.